Hello, tender heart of Taurus. If you've been feeling that strange stillness lately, the kind that settles not around you, but within, you're not imagining it. That quiet, almost electric sense that something is watching, that something is stirring just beyond what your eyes can see. It's not paranoia, and it's not restlessness without cause. It's presence, and it's trying to speak to you. You, Taurus, who are so grounded in the physical world, who move through life with loyalty, patience, and practicality. Yes, even you have always had a quiet channel to the unseen. And now, in the very first weekend of August, that channel is being reawakened. You may have dismissed it at first, the subtle shift in energy when you walk into a room, the dreams that have felt more vivid lately, the sudden chills on your skin when nothing around you has changed. But I'm here to tell you these are not coincidences. They are signs, gentle nudges from the universe, trying to prepare you for something deeply personal and long overdue. A truth about yourself that you may have spent years ignoring, denying, or simply not feeling ready to receive. But now it's rising. Because this weekend, Taurus, something sacred is opening. Not out there, but within you. A truth that has always lived in your bones, but that you were taught to soften. A brilliance you were born with, but learned to hide, to keep others comfortable. You have always had a quiet kind of radiance, the kind that doesn't scream for attention, but that warms the whole room just by existing. And maybe you've sensed lately that this part of you wants to come out again. That something is whispering, "It's safe now." This is your soul's way of saying, you were never meant to be invisible. You were never meant to be just the one who supports, holds steady, endures. You were meant to glow. And this first weekend of August will bring the first flickers of that awakening. Through a comment that hits deeper than expected, through a memory that returns with surprising emotion, through the way someone looks at you like they truly see you. And in those moments, Taurus, your heart will remember, this isn't new. This is who you've always been, just waiting for you to come home. Do you remember, Taurus, the way your eyes used to light up as a child when someone praised you, not for what you did, but simply for who you were? Do you remember how easy it felt to shine back then, to take up space in your own quiet, a grounded way? Maybe it was in your laughter, steady and warm. Maybe it was in the way you brought peace to chaotic moments, or how your touch, even as a child, made others feel safe. Back then, you didn't doubt that you mattered. You didn't question your belonging. You existed fully rooted, expressive, open-hearted. But there was a moment, maybe not all at once, but slowly enough that you didn't even realize it was happening, when something shifted. Someone told you that you were too sensitive, too slow, too stubborn, too emocional, too much of something, or not enough of something else. And because you are someone who cares deeply about stability, about being loved and included and trusted, you listened. You adjusted. You began to quiet parts of yourself that felt loud, even if they weren't. You started to hold back opinions to avoid conflict. You made yourself more digestible, more convenient, less radiant. And maybe the world applauded that version of you, the one who made others feel comfortable, the one who carried more than her share, the one who never asked for much in return. But something inside you, something precious, grew dim, not because you weren't strong, but because you are so strong, Taurus. And you knew how to endure it. You knew how to keep loving, keep giving, even with a bruise forming beneath your calm surface. That bruise, the one you never spoke of, the one you barely acknowledged, is the wound that this weekend has come to expose. Not to harm you, but to heal you. Because you cannot continue to build a life around a version of yourself that was crafted to survive rejection, Not when you were born to thrive in truth. That child you once were, the one who twirled without shame, who spoke from the heart, who trusted her own pace, is still inside you, waiting, hoping, needing to be seen, not just by the world, but by you. And this weekend, if you're brave enough to feel into the discomfort, if you're tender enough to reach back through time, you will find her there with open arms and open eyes, asking you to finally stop apologizing for the way you shine. And now, Taurus, comes the return. Not of someone new. Not of some unfamiliar self you must learn how to perform, but of the version of you that's always been waiting, just beneath the surface. The calm, unshakable soul who doesn't need the spotlight to feel powerful, but who also no longer feels the need to dim their presence for the comfort of others. This first weekend of August isn't just about being seen by the world, it's about you seeing you with clarity, reverence, and softness. You'll start to notice it in the smallest moments, a compliment that lands deeper than usual, a glance from someone who looks at you like they've never truly seen you until now, or even in the stillness of your own reflection when, for a brief breath, you recognize the strength in your own gaze. Not the version of you molded by expectation, but the one who has quietly endured and still remains whole. And with that awakening comes a quiet but undeniable sorting, because as your light begins to rise steady, grounded, unwavering, it will act as a mirror for the people around you. Some will step closer. These are the ones who have always felt your energy, who never needed you to shrink in order to love you. They will feel at ease with your expansion. In fact, they will be energized by it, inspired to step into their own truth just by witnessing yours. These people won't be loud, but they will be real. You'll feel safe with them not because they never challenged you, but because their presence never asked you to be less. But others will begin to shift. Some subtly, some noticeably. Their support may turn into silence. Their compliments may come with a sting. They may joke about you changing, becoming distant, less easy. What they're really saying is that your light, now brighter, fuller, less compromised, makes their own shadow harder to ignore, and the part of you that has always wanted to keep the peace will feel tempted to dim again, to soften your edges, to apologize for growing. But you must not, because this, Taurus, is the point of no return. This is the threshold between the self who asked for permission to be loved and the self who simply is. Regardless of approval, the people who truly belong in your circle won't be frightened by your fullness. They won't try to cage your evolution. And those who do, their discomfort is not your burden to carry anymore. This is not the beginning of loneliness, it's the beginning of clarity. And clarity is the most loving thing you can offer yourself. So let the light do what it's meant to do. Let it reveal. Let it refine. And most importantly, let it lead. Here's the part, Taurus, that might sting before it sets you free. You have spent years, maybe even a lifetime, waiting for someone to look you in the eyes and say, yes, it's okay to be exactly who you are. You've waited for permission to speak with your full voice, to take up space without guilt, to want what you want without apology. And maybe no one ever told you directly to shrink. Maybe it wasn't words, but looks, silences, subtle messages that taught you it was safer to be agreeable, quiet, dependable, unshakable. And because your soul is loyal and your heart is so deeply rooted in belonging, you listened. You made yourself easy to love. So easy, in fact, that somewhere along the way, you forgot what it felt like to choose yourself first. But here's the truth, Taurus, and it's not bitter. It's just real. No one is coming to give you that permission slip. No one is going to knock on your door and hand you a gold-foiled note that says, "Now you may live as your whole self. That's yours to give. That's always been yours." And I know how hard it is to admit that. Because once you do, you can't unknow it. You can't unknow that the gate has been open this whole time. And the only thing standing in front of it was your own silence. But this weekend, that silence starts to break. Not in a loud explosion, but in a quiet reclaiming, in the way you finally say, "No more. No more hiding. No more asking to exist. No more apologies for what makes you whole." And with that liberation, Taurus, comes responsibility, the kind that doesn't weigh heavy, but rise like purpose. Because shining isn't just about being seen. It's about what you're showing. The world is overflowing with noise, with surface, with performance. But what it's starving for is realness, grounded truth, honest energy. And you, Taurus, were born to embody that. Your presence alone carries a vibration that steadies people. Your ability to feel deeply while still staying rooted is a kind of leadership that can't be taught. And when you choose to stop hiding, when you choose to show up as all of you, not the version molded by fear, but the one refined by healing, you give others a rare gift, the permission to do the same. You see, your light doesn't just illuminate. It activates, it wakes people up. And yes, that means some will resist. Some will retreat. But others will rise because of you. Not because you shouted your truth, but because you lived it. Fully, calmly, powerfully. So, if you've been waiting for a reason to finally stop shrinking, this is it. If you've been waiting for a sign that it's time to be seen, not as someone perfect, but as someone whole, this is it. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. And truth, Taurus, has always been your superpower, even when you buried it beneath silence. But Taurus, the most powerful shift of all, won't come from the outside world. It won't be found in praise, promotions, or someone else's recognition. Though those things may come too. The real transformation begins quietly, in the unseen corners of your inner life. It starts in how you speak to yourself when no one is listening, in how you begin to soften the sharp voice of self-judgment, in how you learn to meet your reflection with kindness instead of critique. This is not about suddenly becoming fearless or radiant overnight. It's about choosing, day by day, not to abandon yourself in small ways anymore. You'll notice the change when you stop deflecting compliments with discomfort and begin to say, "Thank you," like you mean it. You'll notice it when you feel the urge to stay silent in a moment that calls for truth and instead, you speak. Not to be loud, not to be right, but to honor your own presence. You'll notice it when you catch yourself holding back, just to keep someone else comfortable. And something in you says, "Not this time." These are quiet rebellions, sacred ones. And together, they build a life where your sense of worth no longer depends on being easy to digest, but on being real. And so, Taurus, if there's one thing I want you to carry from this message, it's this: don't miss the signs. They won't always look dramatic. Some will be barely perceptible. A feeling in your gut, a shift in your breath, a sudden remembering of who you were before the world asked you to be anything else. But they're real. And they're yours. Don't let false humility or inherited fear convince you to walk past them. You were never meant to shrink into someone else's definition of peace. You were born to build a deeper one from truth, from presence, from light that doesn't ask for approval. So take up space. Reclaim your pace. Speak in your full voice and trust the ground beneath you. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are finally right on time. Shine, Taurus. Not because the world is watching, but because your soul finally is.